welcome and good evening to y'all, ladies and a fucking scene, and it goes zero. Okay. All right. Back in. All right. So we're gonna try that. All right. So yeah, if we go in and out, guys, I've got the stream pulled up, so we'll try to use and work with what we can. Um, it can stay steady. That's the problem. Work with it. Maybe. Okay. All right. Master Bucko already in chat. Thanks, Bucko. All right. So let's get to it pretty much. Welcome in is episode number 4. We're here live for what is to be a regular season recap here this evening. It's all come down to this. We got playoffs coming up soon. We'll have the playoff preview next week. And we'll have the regular season recap because it's been a long, yeah, I say long, I think long season. But Heathen, my man, it's been one long season, man. Kind of, I mean, what are you looking at before we get into our mailbag? What was your kind of like, I guess, highlight reels of the season?
Why? I mean, I missed a couple weeks before I came back finally. Um, but I, I know I'm beating a dead horse, but I think that my highlight moment of the year was the entirety of the Las Vegas week of us going to fix setups. I think for me, you not only raced one of the races, that was my highlight of the season because it made everything. All and we'll get into what happened this week in UTLR at Daytona. Um, but it the racing has been a lot closer these last 2 weeks. A lot more fun. Um, say the least, a lot more fun and a lot more enjoyable. Because I'm not gonna say the boring answer and say the administration switch because I feel like that was the real turning point of the season.
But I feel like everybody's
But
kind of knowing
you
that
know,
at this point.
yeah.
So yeah, definitely a lot of hits, a lot of misses that we're going to go over, both on both ends. So let's get right into it for this week. Turn myself up just a touch, definitely low. All right, so going into the mailbag of the week, it is time for driver mailbag here in UTLR, and it is time for the first question. Actually, we were going to use this one for this week, but Garage, your question is actually for the playoffs, so we're going to save it for the playoff preview. So because it's going to fit better with that one. So your one question is going to wait another week. Um, but Marsh, we'll go with yours. How do you mentally bounce back after an on-track issue or a wreck? And Heathen, you're all about mental capacity over there. um,
We call on Wednesday night. I kind of blew a little bit of fuse on Wednesday night, but
how do you,
um,
how do you bounce back after
into
a big
that,
issue or a wreck? Like, you look at it different ways because you have
um,
like the admin POV versus being a driver POV and how to bounce back in two different kind of ways.
I feel like me being in sports my whole life, I kind of you know, you have one like for saying football, you have one bad game that doesn't dictate your season. For how good you are, it's one bad game. It's what it is. You gotta move on and you know put that shit behind you because if you keep that in the front of your memory bank, it's gonna it's gonna eat at you. So every time that something happens, I might be mad in the moment and like an hour after the race, whatever. But after that, I like the next day, I'm cool. Shit happens on the racetrack. I know. Um, I don't want to. You know, I've already apologized to Doc because I said some things on Wednesday night. Me and Doc have talked about it. Um, I'm not mad at him. like it's like he said on the Lagging Legends Racing Network, which happy they're back, by the way. Happy they're back.
Glad to see him back.
More coverage in the league is always good. But like you said on their podcast, like on the Speed Report, that it wasn't intentional. And he the way it happened, we had a top 4 finish, guaranteed lockdown, and it sucks obviously that as the bridesmaid to Ducky after the last pit stop, because me and Ducky swapped. On that last pit stop, I was leading going into the pit. I let you go past me. I pushed up. Ducky's had so much bad luck this year. Like I was like, if I can be here the whole way, I don't care about the win. At that point, I'm fine with P2. P2 would be a great result. Unfortunately, I got spun out. I finished 10th. Wow, Alex, the screen.
I'm trying to.
I'm watching. And
My bad.
no, we're good now.
My camera is definitely trying to follow me.
But no, like to answer Mark's question though, I'll go more in depth on the whole Ducky dog situation later. But you just gotta put that stuff in the back of your memory bank and move on, because unless it's the final race of the year, there's always next week, or in some cases, if it happens on the truck race on Tuesday night, you have 2 more opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's the way I see it personally from my POV on the question is, I can get mad during the truck race. I may, depending on the situation, it definitely varies situation to situation for me. And if it's that serious of an issue, I'll either talk it out, and if talking just it doesn't hinder me, then I'll definitely move on to the cup race. I may take you out or rub some fenders. I haven't done that this season, but you never know what it might bring entail. But I try not to make it affect every series, because if anything, I want it to make an impact on each and every series, each and every week. If anything, I might drag it to the next series, but I try to keep it in that series. If there's an issue between me and somebody on track, then I want to stay in that series. If it's cup, then I've got your ass next week. Top deal. It's not going to be, well, you screwed me over in truck, so I'm going to screw you over in cup. It doesn't make any logistical sense, because that driver may be behind you in points. It don't really matter. But in cup, they could be ahead of you, and it matters. So you really have to really look at the situation at hand, see what goes on, and see, is it worth moving it into another series, or is it worth just letting the hell go and just seeing what the hell happens? Like, just let it go. There's no need. It's a game at the end of the day. We're here to have fun. Yes, we get tempers, but at the same time, we're here to have fun. Let it go if it's not that serious.
Yeah. I also want to point out, with the whole mental side of it, right? You talked about, paying them back eventually. Like, his race car drivers' memory banks are insanely large.
Oh yeah.
Look at Corey Heim and Hocevar at Coronado. Corey Heim got wrecked for a championship from Hocevar a couple years ago, and he did not hesitate to give him the bumper.
I know he did.
In my opinion, if it's a driver that you get into like once or twice, it's a lot easier to get that out of your memory bank and move on from it. But for me personally, if it's like a repeated person, over and over and over again, that's when it turns into, okay, now I actually have to do more in my head to get away from that, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And to like distance myself situation. So, and because at the end of the day, dude, we're all friends outside the racetrack. We're all friends for the most part.
For the most part.
So, like for say, if Meso kills me 8 times in one race, I'm be pissed at that little shit. I'm be really mad at that little boy. But like, an hour after the race, we're playing Madden together.
But it's
Like
like
nothing
literally
fucking
after the
happened.
race, you're gonna be on
You
Madden.
know,
Yeah, literally after the race, you're gonna be okay. We're coming back alive. There we go. All right, but yeah, you bust my balls 24/7. But hell, we keep it off track, and on and off track, very different ball game there.
I'm like like I bust your balls. Fucking, but we're friends. So
Exactly.
friends can't ban each other.
Fair. Trash
I
can.
know. I like the question.
Which one?
I liked Marsh's question though,
No, that was definitely a good one. Definitely, I like that.
because who's a new driver, you know, maybe I obviously he's my driver, but I know a couple of times he's been, upset about how races have went for him. Especially when it's not his fault. Like the big one was Homestead in a top five finish, and then that incident with me, you, Raj, and whoever else was there happened, and he wrecked and finished like 14th or whatever the fuck it was. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So
I like the question.
the second one we don't have many in that. So the second of the three is from Meso, little shithead. Um,
Ace, what happened?
which one?
I want to answer trap. I want to answer trash cans.
No, we're not. This
Oh,
is stupid. It's just about the
trash
dumbest
can answers yes. Sell to give up for $3.
trash can who won't sell me his rugby ball. But
Hey man,
Meso's,
he was at log actually twice.
yeah, I know. One was a false.
Sounds a lot different on a mic though. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. Meso's question is: if you had to pick one moment this season that was unforgettable, what would that be?
I know what mine is.
Las Vegas.
No,
Wow. What?
Rockingham.
Oh yeah, I would have been yeah. Getting that first truck win and
Getting my
how many?
they might get my back in God knows how long.
Yeah, that was your rhythm. Getting your rhythm back.
Yeah,
I know mine would have to
because like
be.
that was like I mean MVRA, but that was only Cup. So I really had no experience with sliders in the lower series, and like I said, like massive shout out to Ducky though, because me and him worked a lot that week or the weeks leading up. We were specifically practicing Rockingham.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I remember you did a lot of
so
practice that week.
you know, yeah, big shout out to Ducky for that, and obviously the whole entire college team as well. They were all there. Tristan Marsh, Meso, we were all there. So,
I
but
know. I
no,
know
I feel like
mine's definitely got to be the
has
Chicago Street
that's my
Course. And
should have won.
well, it's not.
If it won
It's
for some guy on a road,
well, look, it wasn't even because of me doing like well. It was the overall event. How many times have we should have?
oh,
It was actually technically the Cup and the National Series combined as my moment, Meso, because going into that event prior to everything happening, I had a lot of headache going into that week. I'm like, oh hell, we're gonna have a shit show. It's gonna be not the best, and a lot of shit happened. We had transfer over of adminship. People left, people stayed, and then we had Chicago Street like 3 weeks, 4 weeks after. Had time to kind of settle dust, figure stuff out, get in tune, and we had still decently good sized fields for Chicago, and we still came out only one caution that entire week of both races, and that was a national because Cup Series went green to checkered except for stages, which was a very impressive stat for this league when it comes to a tight track like that.
oh,
Huge props.
I will say to add on to that, we've like ever since the break, we've had a lot of like green to green races with like either one or two cautions max. I
Mm-hmm.
remember the stat we had. We had 8 costs first like 4 weeks or whatever, and that's with 12 races or whatever.
Roughly, yeah.
So
No, so that's definitely a solid question. Mesa, really good on that one. I like it. Um, last one is from Bucko.
oh
Um,
god,
what is y'all's biggest piece of
gosh,
what's your biggest piece of advice for a new or vet guy from a vet? So more or less, a biggest piece of advice for a new guy from a vet. Okay. Okay. Maybe barely hanging. All right, we're good for now.